I'm Emily Mashak, and you're listening to Tuned In to NoCo, Town Square Media's show that lets you know what matters in NoCo. I'm talking today with Tom and Corinne Carrigan of KidsPak about all of the awesome things that this nonprofit is doing here in Loveland. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for asking us.
Of course. But now, for our listeners who may be unfamiliar, what is KidsPak and how did it come to be here in Northern Colorado?
KidsPak is a weekend food program for children who are food insecure. It started about 12 years ago, Tom. I think you came in. And when we moved here, Tom was retired. I was still working. He needed something to do, so he joined Rotary. And after a few weeks, they asked him if he decided to be a driver for KidsPak. And before you knew it, he was in charge. So when I retired, I just went right along with him. And now it takes up the major portion of our lives.
Wow. That's awesome. And what inspired you to get involved with this? How did this all start?
A hungry child.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any child in our country being hungry. That's not going to happen on my watch.
Yeah. And what brought that issue to light in your eyes? When did you realize?
When Tom started, I think, with Rotary, and I'm going, hungry kids in Loveland? You know, in a big city, I could understand that a little more, but not in Loveland. And so I think that's what brought me into it. And I know Tom felt the same way.
Well, KidsPak started in the last 8 weeks of the 2009 school year. And earlier in 2009, one of the Rotary Club members had seen a national news story about the explosion of backpack programs across the United States. And currently, we know from Feeding America statistics, there are about 5,000 backpack programs across the United States. And they're, supervised by Rotary clubs, by all sorts of organizations. And so the Rotarian went to the Loveland Rotary Club, presented the situation, said he had talked to the Thompson School District, and they did not have a weekend food program. So the club voted to get started. They gave it some seed money, I think $5,000. And so in the very beginning, they served 34 students in 3 elementary schools. And then in the fall of 2009, expanded as money came in, 2009, 10, 11. We're up to about 550 students in 35 schools every single week. Since the COVID has hit, we've had to change things massively. Instead of 65 volunteers a week, we're now down to 20 because following the common sense county health rules, spacing people out, all kinds of things like that. So next year we will be close to our 1 millionth meal for kids in the Thompson School District. Right now we're around 60,000 meals this year. We started the very first week of the Thompson school year, which was August 18th. We had more than 50% of the principals saying, don't wait to the middle of September, can I have food bags now? So we started. So we'll be out there about 37, 38 weeks during the school year. And in the summertime, we'll partner with the district. And when they give out food, we'll be right next to them. So it's gone to really 48 of the 52 weeks. We're in the community getting food to kids who are struggling on the weekend.
Wow, that is awesome. And I want to go back, like you said, Corinne, you were thinking hunger is an issue in a big city, but not in Loveland. And I think a lot of our listeners probably think and feel that way as well. How big of an issue is child hunger here in Loveland?
Child hunger is a lot bigger than we think. We are at about 40% of our the kids in our schools are on free and reduced meals. So if that's 40% of our kids, and there's 13,000, that's almost 5,000 kids just in Loveland who are food insecure. That to me is wrong, and I don't want that to happen. Tom is the one who knows all the statistics. I'm the one who goes in with the heart and cries. So, although he shed a few tears too a few times.
Yeah.
Well, you can't help but be impressed and touched by the dedication of teachers. They know what's going on in those families. And especially the early years, the teachers will tell you the most important thing in that class every day is that student knows that they're loved, that the room is a safe place to be. Then education starts. But we know through statistics and talking to teachers that if kids don't eat on the weekend, the regular number of meals, they're not ready to learn. And we have tons of statistical information. CSU has a nutrition school. You can talk to those people about the effects on the brain and their ability not to learn to Tuesday or Wednesday if they haven't had the proper nutrition over the weekend. And as I said, there's 5,000 programs. The largest in the United States is Blessings in a Backpack that started out of Kentucky. They have about 1,050 groups over 45 states that all have that common term, Blessings in a Backpack. KidsPak is more or less an independent group supported by the foundation. McBackpack serves about 400 families in the Poudre School District. In Weld County here, you have the Weld Food Bank that serves 9 school districts in Weld County, and they deliver about 2,000 bags every week through their own distribution channel. So you have it sometimes under a food bank, sometimes under a church, sometimes somewhere else. And we take great pride that our bag has 6 meals in it, about 12, 13, 14 items every week. We work with a dietitian to try and hit that 55, 60 grams of protein every week. So it's not junk. It's a couple of milk, cereal, tuna, chicken, mac and cheese, fruit, beef sticks, really good items.
Yeah. And like you said, you kind of mentioned it starts with the teachers. Is that how the process of KidsPak works for our listeners who might be in need?
Yes, that goes through the school district, through the school itself. If a child is hungry or if you know of a child that's hungry, just tell the teacher and the teacher will sign them up for KidsPak with the permission of the parents. Now, we don't know who receives our bags. We never see the children. We deliver our bags on a Wednesday morning to the school, and then the school holds them until Friday and then distributes them to the students on Friday. So we don't know. We could be standing next to a child who's receiving our bags and we wouldn't know it. It's one of our major concerns is that we do not know who the kids are that receive our bags. Right. Yeah. So
and we try to make it really easy on the school. The principal assigns one person, and that person goes on our website each week and puts in the school's name, their name, how many bags do you want next Wednesday. That's it. Less than 1 minute on our website. We have the data. So by Friday night, we know how many bags we have to have next week. Also, we've reached out, especially since COVID, working with the Loveland Library. And we have bags in the entrance. So our theme there is get a book, get a bag. And since June 1, 2020, over 2,800 food bags have left the Loveland Library to go home to families. And last summer, we added Berthoud Library. And so they can order each week, generally 50 to 60 bags. And 6 days a week, a family can go in and get a food bag, no questions asked.
That is awesome. Well, it's clear that KidsPak is making such a huge impact. But in your time with it, how have you personally seen it make an impact? I know you don't know which children the bags are going to, but do you have any personal stories of how you've really seen it make a difference?
we have stories that we get secondhand. One particular story that is that there was a child in school who was flunking class, who was an A student. He was an A student. He was doing very well in school, answered questions in class, did his homework, did well on tests. And all of a sudden, he started not doing his homework. He started flunking tests. He didn't participate in class anymore. And finally, the teacher took him aside and said, "What's going on? What are you doing this? Why is this happening?" And he said, "If I can flunk one class, I know I can go to summer school and I can eat during the week. Not on my watch. This kid is sabotaging his education for food. I can't let that happen. We can't let that happen. We have over 200 volunteers that I call my heroes because they're always there when I need them. In fact, I sent out a message this morning that I needed help from 16 people, and within 5 minutes, I had 5 already volunteers. So they're there and they want to help. But in total, we have over 1,000 people that we can call on that can come and help and will be there when we need them. We don't get stories directly from students or from kids, but we do get them through the school, through people at the Loveland Housing Authority. We do help them out every year. And when they have a family who's coming in with no food, we bring extra heavy bags, we call them, big bags of 30, 40, 50 items to get them started. And those stories we do get, and how well received they are, and how kids go through the bags and go, look, Mommy, peanut butter. I mean, peanut butter isn't a big deal to us. It's in our house every day. This little boy was living in a car, and he hadn't seen peanut butter in a long time. So these are the stories that touch our heart. And those are the stories that make us do it. We get up every morning and go, okay, as Tom always says, use your famous line, dear. Which one? Which one? How about, we're always looking for the next hungry child.
Yeah.
That's Tom's line. He ends everything with, tell us where the next hungry child is.
Yeah.
Well, we all have our family memories, and we have a lot of wonderful memories, but they were, we remember when our families had a difficult time. And I think at the latter part of your life, you're always looking to say, how can I leave the world a little bit better? And I worked pretty diligently for 35 years and didn't have much time for that. And this has been really a blessing to work with so many people and meeting the educators and hearing the stories. They really are true heroes, because if you've ever looked at the pay scale, it's not that great. And yet, if you're in a classroom and you watch them, especially with the younger ones where patience is personified, you go, you really have to love this job. You have to love this job. And right now we're in the midst of distributing the Safeway Santa Bucks gift cards. And we're tracking right now through December to receive almost $40,000 in 3 Safeway stores in Loveland, which means that over 700 families in Loveland are going to get a gift card where they can get $50 of food at the holiday time. And that doesn't happen unless your community cares, whether it's rounding up to the next dollar or putting $1 in when you check out or whatever. And so this is a change this year from Safeway, because we used to give out the actual dinners, and that was kind of a nightmare, standing in the cold hoping that the families could get to the store so you could give them the food. This year they've moved to a $50 gift card, which gives tremendous flexibility. If the family needs diapers or formula, or their meal doesn't look like turkey, they have the flexibility of making that adjustment.
Their own decision.
So we're really indebted to the 3 Safeway stores in Loveland for picking KidsPak to do the distribution, which will happen this coming Monday, so all the cards get home to the families. But we've been blessed with a lot of people coming on board and bringing expertise. Earlier this year, we separated from the Loveland Rotary Club Foundation, which was our financial umbrella for all these years, but now we've gotten kind of into the big time, so we're a standalone 501c3, and there's a lot of administrative stuff that has to get done when you're a standalone. So I've been learning a lot at my old age.
But we have great volunteers. We have a board of directors that works almost as hard as we do to make sure that things go right, that we have all the right paperwork, that we're doing things the right way. And I can't say enough of our volunteers. They've been wonderful for the 10 or 11 years that I've been involved. So,
yeah. Well, and speaking of that, I'm sure hearing this, our listeners, I know will want to get involved. How can they donate? How can they volunteer?
They can donate through our website, which is www.kidspak.net.
.org.
.org. I can never remember which one it is. Sorry. And they can go there and they can find the donate button and they can donate right there. We also, if anyone wants to volunteer, there's an information place where you can email me and I will get in touch with you and we'll go from there. We had Colorado Gives Day, and we had a donor who would match our donations up to a certain amount, and we did very well. We made our match and then some. So again, the people in Loveland and in the surrounding areas that may shop in Loveland or work in Loveland have been absolutely wonderful to us, and we just hope they keep doing it because we keep finding hungry kids.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you both, Corinne and Tom, for taking the time to come in. It was so great to talk to you and learn about KidsPak. Is there anything else that you would like our listeners to know?
Well, I think one of the fun things when you're volunteering is the people you meet, not only your immediate area, but also we've kind of had a belief for 3 or 4 years now to, quote, get out of your box. And Corinne and I went to Chicago in the summer of 2019 to kind of a national meeting at Blessings in a Backpack, and we met another executive director out of Amarillo, Texas, Dyron Howell, who runs Snack Pack for Kids, and he serves 20,000 kids in Amarillo and school districts in the Texas Panhandle. He had incredible ideas, testings before they put new foods in, high school pantry, incredible. So we have stolen the best of his ideas and moved them to Loveland, Colorado. And he was gracious enough to come up and at our Embassy Suites dinner a couple of years ago and talk to our crew. But also, we had a local person here that I was introduced to in Johnstown, Jordan Levi, who is the president of Five Rivers Cattle Feeding. They're the largest cattle feeder in the United States. And their mission the last 2 years is a beef stick in every backpack program in the state of Colorado. Those sticks are now being made at CSU Animal Science Building on campus by students. And KidsPak was the first in Colorado to get the beef sticks. We've gotten 38,000 free since they started, and they are right now supplying about 30% of all the backpacks in Colorado, and they're building and building and building to get sticks every week and every backpack program in Colorado, and that's the first in the United States. CSU doing an incredible job with the beef industry.
Well, thank you both again so much for coming in. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Emily, for inviting us.
Again, that was Tom and Corinne Carrigan from KidsPak. Learn more at KidsPak, KidsPak.org.